My parents didn't miss my graduation. They skipped it. The text came at midnight. Too tired from Chloe's trip. We'll celebrate next time. The next time that never came. By sunrise, I was standing behind Harvard's podium. 1,000 cameras pointed at me, and 3 chairs in the front row. 2 empty, 1 with a single white rose. When the applause ended, so did their silence. Because that morning, every network replayed my speech, and the world saw what they didn't. You think you know what that felt like? Being unseen until it's too late? You don't. Not until you hear what happened after. I grew up in a town where everyone knew your last name and what your parents drove. Sunday mornings smelled like coffee, gossip, and freshly pressed church clothes. My mother, Judy Hart, lived for those mornings. She was the kind of woman who believed that appearances were a form of prayer. If people saw perfection, maybe they'd believe it was real. My father, Robert, stood beside her quietly, the man who nodded more than he spoke. And then there was Chloe, the daughter who made perfection effortless, the golden child, the reason my mother's voice could shift from sharp to sweet in one breath. I was the older one, the quiet one, the kind of girl people introduced as Chloe's sister before realizing I had a name of my own. When I was 10, my birthday cake read, "Congratulations, Chloe," because Mom mixed up the orders after her dance competition. She laughed it off, handed me a slice anyway, and said, "We'll do yours next weekend." We never did. That was the day I learned how absence could still fill a room. Our house looked picture perfect from the outside. White shutters, neat hedges, Christmas lights that blinked on time. But inside, it ran on comparison. If Chloe's laugh was music, mine was static. If she got applause, I got quiet nods. Every success of mine was treated like an echo, heard but never celebrated. Grandma Helen was the only one who saw through it. She lived 2 streets over, always smelling of cinnamon and soap, and she'd whisper, "You don't need applause to be valuable, sweetheart." I didn't believe her then. When I got older, I stopped asking them to notice. I poured everything into school instead. Grades were safe. Numbers didn't play favorites. By 17, I was staying late in the garage, fixing old radios and engines just to understand how broken things worked. Maybe part of me wanted to fix us, too. But the more I achieved, the quieter they became. When I won first place in the state essay competition, Mom said, "That's nice," before asking if I could help pack for Chloe's trip. Dad nodded without looking up. That silence, that's where the fracture began. It's strange how one small silence can turn into a lifetime. I didn't realize it back then, but every "that's nice," every empty seat was preparing me for something bigger, something that would make their silence impossible to ignore. Harvard was everything. My small town wasn't. Loud, brilliant, alive. For the first time, I didn't have to explain myself to anyone. The cobblestone paths, the smell of coffee from the Science Center cafe, the hum of laptops at midnight, it all felt like belonging. But even in that new world, their silence followed me. The first semester, I emailed my parents a photo of the campus, me in front of Widener Library, red scarf, beaming. Mom replied 3 days later, "Pretty place. Coach just got her a new gig in New York. Isn't that exciting?" Dad added a thumbs up emoji. That was it. No, we're proud. No, how are you? Just a reminder that I was still orbiting around someone else's light. By junior year, I stopped sending photos. Success felt hollow when the people you wanted to see it most refused to look. Still, I kept pushing. I got a research assistant position under Dean Alvarez, a woman who believed in impact over prestige. She taught me that data wasn't just numbers, it was people's lives translated into patterns. "You have a voice, Zoe," she told me once. "You just speak it through logic." That line stuck. While other students planned weekend trips, I spent nights at the library, scanning old medical bills and community health records for our project. Rows of numbers glowed on my laptop, evidence of inequality, proof that silence kills more than words ever could. Every file I opened reminded me of home, of how easy it was for people to look away when something didn't affect them directly. Then came the email. "Congratulations! You've been nominated as valedictorian of the class of 2024. I stared at the screen for a long time. For once, I wanted to share the moment, to hear my parents say something that sounded like love. So I called. No answer. I texted. Hours passed. Finally, Mom replied, "Sorry, honey, we're in Italy with Chloe for her law internship. So proud of both our girls. Both." That one word hit harder than any insult. Both. As if I was an afterthought in my own victory. That night, Maya found me sitting on the dorm steps with the phone still in my hand. "You good?" she asked. I nodded, lying. Inside, something was breaking quietly. 2 weeks later, I got another message. Short, almost casual. "Too tired from Chloe's trip. We'll celebrate next time." I read it twice, then typed back, "Rest well." It wasn't bitterness. It was the end of asking. The night I sent that text, "Rest well," I didn't cry. I didn't even get angry. I just sat there in the quiet hum of my dorm room, watching the light from the Charles River flicker against the wall. Somewhere between exhaustion and clarity, I realized I'd been chasing ghosts my whole life. People who were never going to show up no matter how loud I succeeded. That was the collapse, but it was also the beginning of something else. The next morning, I went to the commencement office and requested 3 family seats. The woman at the desk asked, "Will all guests be attending?" I smiled. "Yes," I said. "One for my grandmother, one for my best friend, and one left blank." On the card, in neat handwriting, I wrote, "Reserved for who shows up." Maya looked at me like I'd lost it when I told her. "That's poetic," she said, half laughing. I shrugged. "It's honest." In the days that followed, I threw myself into my speech. I stayed up until dawn and white in her library, scribbling lines across old notes and coffee-stained napkins. I didn't want to sound perfect. I wanted to sound true. I wrote about every student who had worked 2 jobs, who studied in empty dorms during the holidays, who learned that silence can be survival until it becomes strength. I wrote how sometimes the people who should clap for you are the ones who taught you to perform without applause. When Dean Alvarez read the draft, she didn't say a word first. Then she looked up, eyes glinting. "You realize this isn't just a speech, it's a reckoning." By the time graduation week arrived, campus buzzed with joy and farewells. Students posed under the arches, parents carried bouquets and cameras. I kept my head down, my speech folded neatly inside my folder. Grandma Helen arrived the night before, her pale blue coat smelling faintly of lavender. She took my hands and said, "You don't have to prove anything, Zoe. Just speak." That morning, the text still sat open on my phone. The words, "too tired," glowing like a bruise. I didn't delete it. I wanted to remember exactly what silence looked like. So I dressed slowly, pinned my tassel, and walked across the yard with 2 people who had never let me feel alone, Grandma and Maya. Between them, the 3rd chair waited, crowned with a white rose. The stage was ready, so was I. The sun was sharp that morning, too bright for the ache under my ribs. Bells from Memorial Church echoed through the yard, rolling across the crowd like slow thunder. Rolls of crimson robes shimmered beneath the light, tassels swaying, cameras flashing. Everywhere I looked, families hugged, waved, called out names. The air smelled like lilacs and new beginnings. I found my seat on stage, my heart beating steady but slow. From up here, Harvard Yard looked endless, a sea of faces, parents craning their necks to spot their children's, students searching for the ones who mattered most. I scanned the front rows once, though I already knew. Grandma in her blue coat, Maya beside her camera, ready, and between them, the empty chair. The white rose gleamed against the red cushion, unmoving in the wind. It didn't hurt like I expected. It was colder, quieter, like the final breath before you jump. When my name was called, valedictorian Zoe Hart, a wave of applause rose through the crowd. I walked to the podium, each step heavy with years I hadn't spoken. The microphone buzzed softly. I steadied it, took a slow breath, and looked out over the audience. "Good morning," I began, my voice steadier than I felt. When they didn't see us, we learned to see each other. The hum of the crowd fell away, the wind stilled. I talked about the invisible ones, the students who worked behind cafeteria counters, who fixed printers at 2 a.m., who sent money home between classes. I spoke about how the world celebrates loud success but overlooks quiet endurance. We learn early, I said, that sometimes the chairs reserved for us stay empty, and when they do, we build new tables. I saw Maya wipe a tear. Grandma's chin trembled slightly, her hand resting over her cane. I kept going. My words were no longer just mine. They were every unspoken thing I'd swallowed for 24 years. Silence used to feel like punishment, I said, but now I see it was training. Because when no one shows up for you, you learn how to show up for others. For a second, the microphone caught the faintest tremor in my voice. I let it stay. The truth shouldn't sound perfect. When I reached my final line, may we never leave the next seat empty for those who come after us. The applause started soft, then swelled until it roared through the yard. Students rose, professors stood. The orchestra began again, violins lifting like wings. Through it all, I looked back at the front row. Grandma stood, hands clasped to her chest. Maya was crying openly now, camera forgotten in her lap, and that empty chair, still and quiet, glowed in the sunlight, the white rose catching the breeze like a small flag of surrender. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like release. The ceremony blurred after that, caps flying, laughter echoing, flashes going off like starlight. But the moment stayed frozen in amber. The photo that later went viral captured me at the podium, sunlight on my face, one empty chair, and a rose in the frame. By the time I reached the reception hall, my phone was already buzzing. Notifications stacked faster than I could read. Mentions, reposts, headlines. Harvard valedictorian delivers viral speech about absence and resilience. The empty chair heard around the world. I scrolled once, twice, then stopped when the screen lit up with the one name I hadn't saved but could never forget. Mom, then Dad, then Chloe. Call after call, message after message. Mom, why didn't you tell us? Everyone's asking why we weren't there. Dad, you made it sound like we abandoned you. Do you know how this looks? Chloe, nice job making us the villains. Zoe, congrats, I guess. For a moment, I just stared at the screen, the buzz vibrating through my palm. Then I pressed mute and set the phone face down on the table. Across from me, Maya watched silently. Not answering? She asked. I shook my head. They already said enough. That night, back in my apartment, the city lights flickered against the window. Grandma sat on the couch, newspaper in hand, the photo already on the front page. You didn't embarrass them, she said gently. You revealed them. Her words settled deep in my chest. By morning, the story had gone national. Emails flooded in, fellow students, strangers, journalists, even a TED curator asking if I'd consider expanding the speech. Hashtags trended. Chow the empty chair. Chow build your own seat. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then another text came from Mom. We need to talk. This has gone too far. I stared at it, the irony twisting in my chest. Now they wanted to talk, now that the world was listening. Grandma glanced over. Let him come to you, she said simply. So I did. I sent one message. Dinner tomorrow, Cambridge. No guests, 7 p.m. No explanations, no apologies, just an invitation to face what they had ignored for years. They showed up late. Of course they did. The knock was hesitant, the kind that comes from guilt disguised as politeness. My father entered first, stiff in his jacket. My mother followed, clutching her purse like it might protect her from the truth. Chloe trailed behind, mascara flawless, eyes darting between us. The table was small, set for 4. Soup, bread, nothing fancy. I'd placed a small wooden sign beside the spare chair. For who shows up? Mom broke the silence first. You humiliated us, Zoe. Her voice cracked between pride and panic. The neighbors saw the video. Do you know how it feels to have everyone think we abandoned you? I met her eyes. You didn't need the world to tell you that. You already knew. Dad tried to soften it. You could have told us you were valedictorian. We'd have come. Would you? I asked quietly. Because when I won state, you were at Chloe's dance. When I got the research fellowship, you were in Nashville. There's always a reason, always a trip, always tired. The room went still. The air thickened. Chloe opened her mouth, then closed it again. Finally, she whispered, I didn't know it hurt you like that. It didn't, I said. And for once I meant it. Not anymore. Grandma's words echoed in my mind. Love doesn't wait until you're ready. It shows up when you're needed. Mom's shoulders slumped. We thought you didn't need us. You were always so independent. I let out a small laugh. Independence isn't a personality. It's a survival skill. Silence fell again, heavy but not cruel. Something cracked in it. Maybe understanding, maybe shame. I'm not asking for an apology, I said finally. Just consistency. If you say you'll come, come. If you're tired, rest. But don't promise to show up and then vanish. That's all. No one spoke for a long moment. Then Dad nodded slowly, like a man learning to bow for the first time. We'll try, he said. I smiled faintly. That's a start. When they left, the air in the apartment felt lighter. The rose on the table had begun to wilt, its petals soft but still beautiful. I replaced it with a fresh one. Same color, same meaning. By the end of that week, the world had moved on to another headline. But in my home, the chair stayed, always waiting, always ready. The week after that dinner felt strange, quiet but not empty. My phone buzzed less, the news cycle had moved on, and Harvard Yard returned to its ordinary rhythm of tourists and pigeons. Yet something inside me had shifted, like a bone finally set right after years of pain. Grandma came by every few days, bringing lemon cake and advice disguised as conversation. You gave them a mirror, she said one afternoon, settling her cup on the table. Now it's up to them to decide if they like what they see. I smiled, but I didn't wait for their reflection. I'd spent too many years waiting. A week later, I spoke at a small community event downtown. Nothing grand, just students and locals gathered in a library basement. I used parts of my speech reworked for a smaller room. There were no cameras, no applause, just nods from people who understood what it meant to build your own seat. Afterwards, a girl my age came up, eyes glassy. My parents didn't come to my graduation either, she said softly. but seeing you made it hurt less. That was the moment I realized the story had done its job. It had turned pain into permission for someone else to heal. At home, the chairs still sat in the corner, beside my desk, the wooden tag dangling for who shows up. Sometimes, when the light from the window hit it just right, it didn't look empty. It looked expectant. Mom sent a text. To the following Sunday dinner next week, early this time. I stared at it for a long second, then typed, early is good. The next morning, I passed through Harvard Yard one last time. The air smelled like cut grass and coffee the same way it had when it all began. I looked toward the stage where I once stood, sunlight spilling over the bricks, and whispered, not bitter, not proud, just certain they see me now. I've learned that sometimes justice doesn't come as an apology. It comes as clarity. You spend years begging to be seen. Then one day you stop asking, and the world turns its head anyway. That's what happened to me. My family didn't change overnight, but the silence between us did. It wasn't filled with guilt anymore. It was filled with choice. Now, every time I sit at my kitchen table, that extra chair is there, not as a reminder of who failed to show up, but as an invitation for those who will. It's for anyone who's ever felt invisible, for anyone who's ever clapped alone in a crowd. If you've ever built something from the pieces they left behind, this story is for you. And if you've ever waited for someone to show up and they didn't, don't wait forever. Build your own seat. Sit proudly. Let them see what they missed. If this story touched something in you, share it below. Tell me where you're watching from or who you built your own chair for. And if you want more stories like this, stories about finding power in the quiet, subscribe, stay, and let's keep showing up.